what happens when Facebook shows you stuff that it thinks you might like to see is that your reality becomes slightly tweaked and slightly curated and slightly augmented. If you flirt a little bit with the EDL like your friend, then your Facebook feed is going to become more and more and more concentrated with that stuff.
And to a point where he's drowning in it. He's absolutely drowning in all these weird American Islamophobes, and I've never really thought this through before. That is feeding an unhealthy appetite that he has, isn't it?
Brexit is a great barometer of this. It seems like Brexiteers and Remainers are speaking two entirely different languages, yeah?
And this is what Frank was referring to.
They've been convinced of two completely different realities. It's kind of like reverse gaslighting. Instead of making you doubt your reality, it convinces you of a reality that's not true. So in my reality, a Brexiteer is a really rare thing.
Yes.
When they pop up on my Facebook feed, I don't know what to do with them. And I don't understand their frame of reference. But then I have one relative who's a horrible little racist pygmy, and whenever I pop into his feed, it's the complete opposite, and the world becomes a very scary place.
And that's why
the problem is that this data is for sale.
Yeah,
and that's where Facebook starts to rip society apart, because you can buy this data, and then you can target these people and fill their feed with stuff that makes them act in a way that you want them to act.
Which is to feel a lot of hate and fear. So it's a little ironic that it's the front page of the Daily Mail accusing Facebook of ripping society apart, but it is much worse than what the newspapers do, because a newspaper, although it might exercise a malign and often dishonest influence over a population, it's not as immersive as social media or Facebook is.
Well, yeah, I mean, if I know that I can target the feeds of 20,000 really, really cheesed off East Coast English fishermen,
yeah,
and I can tell them that if they vote in a certain way in the referendum that their fishing industry will be saved, that's really useful to me. And
it's even more useful if it's not true, but you can present it as something that is true.
Exactly, because it just slides effortlessly into a feed.
And then suddenly the mystery of Donald Trump's election becomes much less of a mystery.
Yeah, it's all that Cambridge Analytica aggregate IQ stuff. There's a guy called Alexander Nix. If you look at his YouTube videos, he's absolutely terrifying, but wears a lovely suit.
I will. Terrifying in what way? Terrifying because he describes reality in a terrifying way, or terrifying because he holds terrifying views?
In the way that he says things like, I have 5,000 data points on every single adult in America.
Yeah.
And I can make them do what I want by filling their Facebook feed with...
That's Lex Luthor, isn't it? It's a Bond villain. That's Jonathan Pryce in The World Is Not Enough.
Kind of. He has lovely, luscious hair, but yeah, essentially...
I hate him even more now. I wish I had lovely, luscious hair. So oh, wow. So this is, I mean, my insight, perhaps not as sparkling as I thought it was, but it still really works. The reason why I'm completely blind to what you and Frank have so brilliantly described is because I keep my Facebook very private. And although it does pop stuff into my feed, anything that doesn't link directly to someone I know, I delete and try and arrange the settings in a way that means I don't get stuff dropping into my feed uninvited. But if I went on now and found 10, like the stuff that Donald Trump was retweeting the other day, if I found 10 of those kind of things that were demonstrably untrue or incredibly exaggerated, designed entirely to whip up racial hatred, and I liked 10 of them and maybe replied to some of them, and you know, by misspelling the word patriotic, that seems to be the way you do these things, then and I had a completely open Facebook, by tea time I'd have 100 more in front of me, and I'd have even more proof that all immigrants are scumbags and all brown people are rapists.
Exactly. Your feed would become a very dark place very quickly.